22nd of January, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay, we're ready to go. We are on the bottom Mishnah of the page, Kuf Yud Ches Amud Aleph. Agonev Tle Mina Eder. Agonev Tle Mina Eder.
You're reading from the beginning of the Mishnah or the beginning of the Gemora?
This is the beginning of the Mishnah, which is the last Mishnah on the page. It's about 12 lines from the bottom of the page. 118a.
We're on 118A3, the new Mishnah we're up to.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Lou, would you like to begin reading the Mishnah?
Agonev Taleh Min Ha'eder. He stole a lamb from the flock. Zero, and he returned it. Umes o Nignav, and it died or it was stolen. Chayev be'achariuso. He's obligated in being responsible for it. Lo yadu be'alim lo big nevaso velo bachaziraso. If the owner was not aware and not if the owner was not aware of its being stolen and not aware of its being returned, Umahu, oh, sorry, not if. Yeah, low. The owner was not aware of its being stolen or it's being returned. Umanu es hatzon ushlema he. And he counted the flock and found it was complete. Patur. The thief is not liable.
Oh.
So he stole it and he returned it, but he never said anything to the owner about it. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, in the first case, he's liable because apparently the seems from the implication of what it says in the second case, it says he did not know the owner of not of the theft nor of the return. So it sounds like in the first case, he did know about the theft, but he did not know about the return. In that case, so in the ratio where he knew about the theft, he did not know about the return. So then he's going to be chayav. The thief is going to be chayav. But in the second case, he didn't know. The owner didn't know that it was stolen. He didn't know that it was given back. And on top of that, he counted the flock and it was complete. So in that case, if the animal is stolen after all that, the ganav is exempt.
Excuse me, was it stolen twice? If one stole a lamb from a flock, so someone stole a lamb and returned it without notifying the owner, and it subsequently died or was stolen. So it was, I see. After it was returned, it was stolen again.
Yeah, it was stolen again by a different thief.
Right.
So the first thief will be liable in the first case where the owner did not know that the first thief stole it. I'm sorry, forget that. Made a mistake. He'll be liable because the owner did know about the first thief's act of thievery, but he did not know when the thief returned it that he did not know about that. He's supposed to tell him. And Rashi's going to tell us that, I'm assuming. And in that case, he's going to be liable. Okay, there should be Rashi over here to talk about these two cases over here. Rashi on the Mishnah, it's about
The Mishnah.
past halfway down in the Rashis. Hasnisan is Chai Bakuyuso.
He's chayiv. He's chayiv in being responsible for it. That he is responsible. He's chayiv and he's responsible. The mechi ganva, and that this kamra was stolen. It exists. The rushutei, it's stolen, and it's his domain. The hashava and returning it, the eved, and returning the eved, they consider the I don't know why you call it eved. Lav hashavahu. It's not considered a return. Until Shimandolo Lav Balim. So that it's not considered a return until you told the Balim about it. You can't just, get away with it. If it's stolen, and it's in his domain, the return isn't gone until you told him I brought it back, so to speak.
Yeah, this is what we mean over here. When somebody steals something, so Rashi says, "Come like reshuse." It's now established in his reshus. In whose reshus is it established in now?
In the Ganas reshus.
In the Ganas reshus. What's the nafkamina that is established in his reshus now?
That he's responsible no matter what. Once he took it into his reshus, he now is responsible for it.
Yeah. Now, if something happens to the animal now, before he gives it back and informs him, he's going to be on the hook, even if it's an onus. So he's on the hook for that, and the only way that he can get out of being on the hook is to make a hashava. But hashava requires two things. It requires giving it back. That's, of course, giving it back. But not only that, he has to inform the owner that he's making hashava, that he's giving it back, and now the owner knows that it's now in his reshus, and now he's going to be responsible for the animal. So if something happens to it now, that's it's like any other animal in the owner's flock. It's his responsibility. And it's not the Ganav's responsibility anymore. This language of Chayav B'Chayuso seems to be a bit redundant. I'm not sure exactly what the point of the having the both words there. we've seen this language before. Chayiv b'achra Yusuf. I don't know why it wouldn't be sufficient just to say chayiv.
Well, I think the achrayus is emphasizing that he has a responsibility, even ba'onus. I don't know if we'd know that just from the word chayiv.
Okay, so it's an explanation of why it is that he's chayiv. You want to say he's chayiv because he has achrayus for the animal. So no matter what happens to the animal, he's that's why he's going to be chayiv, even if it died. Is it it's the thief's? Can we say that the reason why the animal died is because of it was stolen? No, it's got nothing to do with that. But the thief is on the hook. He's going to be responsible now. Okay, so that's what we. Maybe that's why it says once it's sort of like an explanation of why he's going to be chayiv even for such a thing like that. If something happened to it through no faults really of the ganav. Nevertheless, he's going to be liable because it's established into his legal domain. Reshusei, Rashi says. Okay, but in the case where he gives it back, and he didn't even know about. The owner didn't even know that it was stolen altogether. There, he didn't know it was stolen, and he didn't know that it was given back. And if he's going to count the flock and it's going to be full, if something happens to the animal at that point, the ganav is off the hook. Potter. Okay. So now let's take a look at the Gemora. Rav is going to have something to say to try to explain this Mishnah over here, because the Mishnah needs explanation, really. What do we want to know? We want to know, why is the guy putter? Why is this thief putter in the first case? In the second case, why is he putter? He didn't inform him after it was stolen. He didn't inform him after he gave it back. So why is he putter? The first case seems to be telling us that the reason why he's liable is because even though he did give it back, but he didn't tell the guy. Well, in the Seifa, he also didn't tell him. He didn't tell him. So why is he putter in the Seifa? Okay, let's see what Rav has to say. Rav. Roy.
Wait a second. There's a second part.
Second Rashi?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Right. Mono esatzon.
And mono at the son. This is where he counted the flock, and he found that there was nothing wrong with it. He mono at the son. Acha shechasir. After he returned it, the he shleimer, and it's complete. Hariesh Khan das pal. Now the owner does know about it because he did a count.
Oh.
No, he doesn't know about it because the count was correct. He doesn't know that it went away and came back. He just thinks everything was fine.
So then why is he putter?
Because it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, but we saw from the Reisha that he's got to tell him that he's making return. And because he didn't tell him, he's chayav.
Yep, no, but first of all, there's a difference in the. Well, let me see. Let me look at this in the ratio though. Okay. No, I think what's happening here in the Reisha is talking about a case where the thief stole it, right?
Yeah.
So he stole it and he returned it. But then what happened
did he?
is then it either died in the flock, which wouldn't work with the count, or somebody else stole it. Because this can't be the same stolen as the original stolen. So this is stolen after he returned it. So that's the question over there. So since he didn't tell him he brought it back at that time, it's like it's a case of he didn't tell the owner that it was stolen the second time. That's with knowing of the knowledge of the owner. That is if the owner didn't wear of it, and then everything was good in the end, that the second thief brought it back, then he can't. The original thief is okay because he got it back. The original thief is off the hook if it was brought back by the second thief.
You think the Mishnah is talking about that a second thief brought it back?
Well, if the count happened, how did the count go? How did it become complete at the end when he did his count?
Because the first thief that stole it gave it back.
No, but when would the count go? Okay, so but the question if there was a count.
Yeah, right. He counted after they brought it back. After the first thief brought it back, after having stolen it, the owner counts and he finds the flock complete.
So then he's not responsible if the second time it gets stolen. Right. Okay, I'll buy that. But that's the difference there. The question in the first case, in the Reisha, is talking about somebody else stole it and he didn't tell him. So he didn't tell him he brought it back. Then the second thief would be stuck. The first thief, it's his fault. He's still responsible. It's only when the owner knows that he told, I'm bringing it back, which happens when he counted it, that he can then say that the first thief is not responsible if it gets stolen the second time.
Okay.
The second time it was stolen was the same animal, and in the time that the thief stole it, if he got some benefit from it, what's the position there? And then returned it, what's the position there? After all, he did steal it, must have stolen it for something. Some reason.
Not sure what your question is. Do you want the thief to pay for his usage of the animal? That's not the subject of the Mishnah. The question is whether he's going to be responsible for the theft of the animal.
Right, well,
the question that the Mishnah addresses is the first thief responsible for what happens to the animal after it's returned, after the first thief returns it? Mm-hmm. Whether it dies, whether it gets stolen by a second thief, is he going to be responsible for that or not? Even though he returned the animal. So in the first case, in the Reisha, he's going to be responsible, even though the first thief returned it. Mm-hmm. In the second case, though, the first thief returned it, and he's off the hook. He's off the hook if the animal dies or is stolen by a second thief. And Rashi seems to make a big deal out of the fact that he counted the flock after it was returned. And even though the first thief did not inform him that he stole it, and now he's making hashava, returning it to him, even though he didn't tell him anything, he's going to be off the hook, Rashi says, because since he counted it, Hare Yeshkan das Bailim. Here we have a case where the Bailim has das. So seems like this das that the Bailim has, that he knows that the flock is full, gets the first thief off the hook for some reason. Okay, let's see what Rav has to say about this Mishnah. Omar Rav. Roy, would you like to read?
Okay, Omar Rav, Ladas. If the article was stolen with the owner's awareness, Sarith Das, and its return requires his awareness.
Okay.
So the thief must tell the owner that the article has been returned.
Yeah.
Shalom Ladas. So if it was stolen without the owner's awareness, Minyan, Minyan,
right? Minyan Poter.
His counting of the possessions of the article that has been returned exempts the thief from liability. It was stolen with his awareness and it was returned, and he counted the possessions. He counted the sheep, and everything was all right. That exempts the thief from liability. That's what we're saying.
That's only if the owner did not know about the thievery to begin with, that this will help.
Yeah.
But if the owner knew about the thievery to begin with, then counting is not going to help get the thief off the hook. Then he needs to, Sorik Das, he needs to inform the owner that he's returning the animal that he stole.
After it could have been anybody who returned it. Right.
No, what do you mean? He's talking about the animal. The Ganav stole the animal, right? And he's the one who's returning the animal.
Right. So you've got to say so to the owner, right?
He has to inform the owner, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, he's liable. But I'm saying that he has to inform the owner, because if he doesn't, who's to say that he returned it? Could be anybody. So that he's still liable for it if he doesn't tell the owner. Anyway,
I mean, this can all be done through agents, but there has to be a return, and there has to be an informing of the owner that the stolen animal is being returned.
Right. Okay. Now the chay, is that right? The chay.
The chikatani. Yeah.
Uminu es.
Umanu esatso v'hi
shalema. And according to this approach, when the Mishnah states, and he counted the flock and found that it was complete, the thief is exempt. A sefer, all right. This returns to the Mishnah's, refers to the sefer, the Mishnah's second, later clause.
Oh. Uh-huh. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Rav is saying that the guy counted and he found the flock to be complete, no thievery. That is only the story with the sefer. That story does not apply to the story of the Reisha, according to Rav.
It's not put in there anyway.
Well, you might have thought to say, and I think that we're going to see later in the Gemora that those words in the Mishnah could apply to the Reisha. As well as the Sefer. But Rav says no. Those words only apply to the Sefer. They do not apply to the Reisha. Okay. Oh, so we got a lot of Rashis over here on Rav. We got one big Rashi, one not so small Rashi, and another Rashi. It's also not so small. And there's a lot of reading over here for the Rashi readers.
Okay. Who's starting? Me or you, Lou?
Lou, are you there?
I'm here.
Do you want to read Rashi? You want me to read the Rashi?
You can go ahead and read it. I'm a little tired.
Okay, well, this first one's a big one. Ladat srichtat, for that the awareness needs awareness. Okay.
Yeah, what did Rav mean by those words?
Awareness needs awareness. It sounds repetitive there. Im hakiru habalim, if the owners have knowledge, shenignava, that it was stolen, tella, from that this lamb there or sheep, tzrich yodim yachzrina. If he knew that it was stolen, the owners have to know, there has to be an awareness also that it was returned. The lo hoda, and if he's not notified of this, even though the manu at Hatzon, even though he counted the sheep, the he shlema, and it's now found that the flock is complete, adayin chayiv be'achruto, he still now would be chayiv for responsibility if something else happens in the future. The kaven, the yada, and now since that he knows havile gezela, that there's a theft, Gemora, a total theft, uba'im hashavet ha'elyoner, and he needs it to be returned, about it. That he has to know that there's been a return. So this is really that the question is that there has to be a knowledge of the return. Otherwise, he's still chayiv, even if he counts. The count only works in the safer case, not in the Reisha case.
Right.
When he knows.
Right. It's interesting.
The knowledge is definitely part of the equation.
Yeah, Rashi says, you know what the knowledge does? When the owner knows that something is stolen from him, Rashi says that's called gezela gemura. That's called a full-blooded 100% gezela. That's a full-blown gezela over there, gezela gemura, and as a result of that it's a full-blown gezela. So therefore, ba'inin hashava malaisa, you need to have a full-blown first-rate return of that item that was gazelled in such a way. Mm-hmm. And the way to make a first-rate hashava is to not only return it, but also to inform the owner that the animal is being returned. I wonder. Yeah, that's a question. Does he? I don't think he needs to admit and confess that he was the ganav. He's just saying, this animal that was stolen from you, here it is. I'm returning it here now. I think that would be enough to qualify for a hashava malaisa. I don't think he has to admit that he was the ganav. I don't think that's relevant. Rashi, I don't see any indication of Rashi to that. In the Mishnah also just says Rashi just says he needs to inform him. He needs to inform him that it's being returned. So he should know that the animal has been returned. Okay. But that's interesting that if you take something from somebody and they don't know about it, it's not the same level of gezel as you take it from them and they know that it's been taken from them. The latter is a gezela gemura, and therefore it requires a hashava malaisa. And therefore, as Phil said, that's why Rav holds that in the first case, it won't be good enough to get the guy off the hook to say that the owner made a count of his animals and they were and he sees that he's got all of his animals there. That will not be enough to get the Goslin off the hook, because he did a gezela gemura, and he needs to make a hashava malaisa, and that means that he or his agent has got to inform the owner that this stolen animal, which was stolen from him, is now being returned. It's not good enough that he just makes a count of the flock and sees that the number is the total count is what it's supposed to be. That's not called a hashava. Right. Okay. And now the next Rashi, Shalol Ladas, is talking about the.
Okay, that he didn't know about it. Shalol Ladas, Lo Hikiro Baal, and the owners don't know. Kodim Chazar, before he returned it. Shitahei, that it is. Sanam, that his flock, Chaser, that his flock is missing.
Kiru Bailim Kodem Chazora Shetiyet Sonam Chasera Klum.
He doesn't know that his flock. He doesn't know whether his flock is missing anything at all. Right. Monu etet, so he now counts after he now counts. He's shleiman, it's complete.
Manu.
Patar minyan, he's minayin. He's putter from this.
Well, after Chazara, and after it was turned, also without being told, the owner being told, Manu esatzon, the owner counts the flock, vihi shlema, and it's complete. So what's the din in that case? Poter minyan. The minyan patters the ganav. The minyan patters the ganav. Because this case is a case where the Rashi says the owner did not realize before the animal was returned that there was anything missing in his flock. And after the animal was returned, even though he wasn't told about the return at that point either, but he thereafter he made an accounting of the flock, and he found the flock to be complete, and that's enough to get the guy off the hook, the ganav off the hook. He's not going to be chayav b'achrayus in that case if a second ganav steals it at that point, or the animal dies. And so, what's the explanation? Rav is explaining why. He's answering the question that we had on the Mishnah. Why is it that in the Seifa the ganav is pater? So Rav is explaining because that guy who stole it, he didn't do a gezela gemura. It wasn't a gezela gemura that he did. Why? Because the owner never found out about the fact that the animal was missing at all. And so that is not called a gezela gemura. Therefore, it does not need hashava malaisa. It doesn't need a first-rate hashava, which requires him to inform the owner. And therefore, the fact that the guy makes a count and he finds it's complete, that's enough to get the Goslin off the hook. Even though he didn't inform him. Because in that case, he doesn't need to inform him. The only time you need to inform him is according to Rav, is if the owner was aware that his animal was stolen and that his flock is missing. But in this case, in the Sefer, he never realized that. So therefore, the Goslin is putter. If the animal would be stolen after the owner made this minyan and found that it was complete. The minyan potters the first ganav. That's the point, according to Rav. Okay. Very good. We got 2 minutes left. You want to start Shmuel?
You still have just the other Rashi. There's one more Rashi on this.
Oh, right. Got a Rashi, right? I keep forgetting the Rashis. A Seifa.
A Seifa on the Seifa. We're talking about the second case is only going on the Seifa. The second case. No Yada Habalim, that the owners don't know that it was stolen, and it was returned. Count the flock, the he shlamer, and it's complete. That's what the Sefer is. Pata, he be pata. About yada, but if he did know about it, though, lo mahani minyan. He didn't know this about counting, of what the count was.
No, about yodu. If the bailim, if the owner of the flock, of all the animals, if he knew that the animal was stolen and therefore he knew that there was something missing, so even in that case where the thief or his agent returned the animal, and now the guy is going to make an accounting of the flock, and he says, "Oh, all the animals are here. Oh, so everything is good." That's and after that, if a second ganav comes along and steals it, first ganav is going to be on the hook, according to Rav. Because that's what Rashi's saying over there. Lo mahani minyan. If the owner knew originally that the animal was stolen and his flock is missing, the fact that he's going to the guy returns it and he's now going to make a counting, and he didn't tell him that he returned it. He didn't inform him. So that's not going to help. Lo mahani minyan. The minyan will not help in that case to exempt the first ganav. In other words, the minyan only helps in the case where the first ganav ganved the animal, and the owner didn't never know about the fact that the animal was stolen. He didn't know. And he likewise didn't know that it was returned. The guy didn't tell him about that either. Even if he didn't tell him that he was returning the animal that was stolen, it doesn't. If the guy does a minyan, he counts and he finds the flock is full. So then that Goslin is off the hook. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Yashikoyach.
All right, then, thank you.
That's the Mishnah and Rav and Rashi.
Okay.
All the best, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Levitt.
Bye to Phil. Goodbye to Roy, and goodbye to Lou.
Okay, see you.
And a good day to Alan.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Bye.